Hey, hello, and welcome to How Do You Drew?
This is a Drew Barrymore podcast brought to you by thedrewseum.com.
And sponsored by our friends at Positive Medium.
I'm Anne.
And I'm Ashley.
And our guests.
My name's Pete.
And I'm Scott.
And we
are the movies that made us gay.
Woohoo! Welcome. We were trying to think of a mashup name. I came up with, How Did You Get So Gay, Drew?
Hey.
Well, what was mine, Ashley?
These are the Drewvies that made us gay.
I like that.
So that's our contribution to this collaboration, and we're out.
So I'll just kind of preface by saying listeners have heard me rave about your podcast for the last, 2 months. I found it with your Ever After episode. And as I began listening to you guys, I was like, they really know their stuff. I'm not sitting here yelling at the car like, that's wrong, like I do with other podcasts, like a nerd. And then I started going through your entire
back catalog. Yeah.
Back catalog. Thank you. And realizing you've done like every movie that's been important to me my whole life, like the weird stuff from my childhood and the stuff I obsessed about as a teenager by myself with no one else. And I've had so many moments, it sounds weird and creepy, but I've had so many moments listening to you guys where I like psychically say exactly whatever reference you're about to say. And I'm just like, these are my people. So I had to stalk you, find you, tell you have to be my friends and come on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having us on. We love doing kind of like collaborations like this.
Yeah.
And, like you said, we try to do as much research as we can. And even if it's something that like I'm not super into, I'm just like, well, if I'm going to blab about it on a microphone for an hour and a half, I need to at least, give it a watch. So yeah, I'm the same way. If I'm listening to a podcast, I'm like, oh my God, people, get it together with these facts.
Yeah.
Just open up your IMDb trivia. It's not that.
And I also appreciate like that you always get dates correct, like years correct, because I have a weird, like, especially in the 90s, I know exactly when anything came out.
Yeah, that's one that's all.
I always have the show notes that has stuff like release dates, years that stuff was made, kind of like production information. I find all that stuff fascinating.
Yeah, me too. I guess we're all a bunch of nerds.
And I'm like an archivist by like trade, and so I'm like, yes, let's talk about dates, let's talk about records.
Meanwhile, I have no head for that. Scott will be like, remember when we saw this movie at that one movie theater? I'm like, sure, I guess. Happened.
But also, like, I think Ashley and I are a mix of that because Ashley has like the dates and facts like kind of memorized, but then suddenly I'll come out with some like random vivid memory of something, and it's like, I don't know.
It's helpful. We're a good team, just like you guys.
Same with us. I think we're all four of us we work well with each other, and that's why our shows are so successful.
Yes, totally.
Actually, I want to ask, I'm curious about how you guys have gotten your Patreon so thriving.
First of all, I'm like so proud to say that like everything that we've done is completely grassroots. It's all just like networking and friends and just putting out, I mean, not to pat myself on the back, but putting out a good product,
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think doing things like this, collaborating with other podcasts, like-minded shows, cross promotion, stuff like that, it's really kind of spread the word about us and just kind of being as diligent as we can with socials and just putting ourselves out there. I mean, it could always be better, but knock on wood, it's as good as it is now. And we love all of our listeners. It's so weird, I hesitate and I hate saying your fans. I hate it. It's so weird. And when we have guests on, or especially when they come to our apartment and we're like, okay, now we're gonna do the intro, so look over there. Because I have to be weird on the mic now. All that stuff is so crazy because we're podcast listeners, we're enthusiasts, and so we're just like, hey, we can do it too. And I don't know, I think just like I said, just trying your hardest to put out as good of a product that we're proud of. And I don't know, I guess it's paying off somehow.
So cool.
I feel like we identify with that like that way of going about it. Like we had
100%.
this sort of community built in. So we're like, let's lean on that community. Let's put out a product that we would enjoy if we were listening. Like Ashley's always like, I love our podcast.
But I'm like, I would listen to this. I do.
You do a successful show.
No, Scott will be editing and he'll say like, this episode's really good. And I'm just like, of course it is.
Yeah, that sounds like us.
Really
I'm like, I really like this episode every time. This is really good, Anne.
I'm like, yay, good. I'm so glad.
Howdy, Droobies.
We want to tell you about our sponsor, Positive Medium. We've actually been clients of theirs for at least 10 years, and they take care of all of our website needs for thedrewsam.com.
They offer custom web design and professional coding, search engine optimization, marketing, and hosting. So we've been hosted by them, but we've also been able to take advantage of a lot of their expertise in these other areas as well.
Absolutely. So customer service is the biggest draw for us with this company. They have saved our site literally from obliteration quite a few times. But then they also help us with minor issues in just like literally a matter of minutes. So if we have like a coding question or just like something on the back end we can't figure out, we reach out to them and we get an answer back and the issue is solved within moments.
We're so excited that Positive Medium is allowing us to offer our listeners 25% off managed WordPress hosting plans using our promo code DREW, D-R-E-W, of course. And if you want to take advantage of this, visit positivemedium.com. We really, really vouch for these people. They've been so great to us and will continue to be great to us. I can only imagine.
I mean, they're great by offering this to our listeners. So take advantage. Again, it's promo code DREW, of course.
Drew Barrymore is Amy Fisher.
You ever been with an older guy?
Unstoppable.
Whatever Amy wants, Amy gets.
Insatiable.
I love him, and I love this sex.
And dangerous.
I'll do whatever it takes to get his wife out of the way.
Don't start what you can't finish.
When I know what I want, I go for it. Let me see it.
You're a psycho.
Don't say it's over.
This is getting out of control.
The New York Times calls ABC's the best of the three. Drew Barrymore, the Amy Fisher story, Sunday.
So we are here to talk about the Amy Fisher story.
Yeah. Probably not one of the like top of the list. We got to get to this movie, but
we've referenced it on our show.
Yeah, that's why I'm happy that you guys are bringing it to us in a way.
Yeah.
And before we get too into it, I just have to say on the call, we have a very special guest on the call. We have Drew here.
Oh my God.
Well, we have
Dylan Saunders.
Yes. Did you know that she was just playing with that on her show this week?
Was she really?
It's like the newest thing on the show's Instagram is her playing with that with Ariana DeBose.
I love that.
I'm so happy that that Drew is here today.
Yeah.
Her presence is definitely felt. It looks like Elle is stunned right now. Drew Barrymore has arrived.
Not Kathy Griffin.
Yeah.
The doll
It's
looks
really not. It's really not a good.
It's got her profile, I feel like, and it's got her butterfly tattoo. That's most importantly of all.
it's got the Barrymore jawline. Like the chin is definitely there.
The hair is wild.
Yeah, these barrel curls are out of control.
That's all the character. Dylan Saunders has insane hair, but that is off topic.
Yeah.
I brought my Amy Fisher VHS. I was like, I'll have this behind me. And then I'm like, where am I going to have this floating? No.
I thought for a split second that they were going to pull out the Amy
that would have
Fisher
been amazing.
VHS.
Close enough. This is amazing.
You know what? I'm so happy that you have that.
I know.
Just gotta say, this is making me so happy. Mine are like in storage, still in the box.
Yeah, ours are still in the boxes, of course.
The first week of the pandemic, when everybody was like in their apartments finding stuff to do, I broke her out.
Oh.
Like I broke her out like week 1 of the pandemic.
Please tell me you made like a movie or something with the doll.
Stop motion like the Rosie O'Donnell at Flower Films one.
I feel like we might, that one as well. I feel like we might have done a couple of things that might be on the Patreon. I think there's some like Christmas decoration videos.
Yeah.
Oh, I started signing up for your Patreon the other day on my phone and I hit some sort of wall where I was like, I have to do this on a computer. And I'm so glad you reminded me because I need to do that.
Well, tell you this much, listeners, the new Patreon app, they completely redesigned their social media. The new app is garbage.
Okay.
The new update's kind of whack.
Yeah, it's weird. Anyway.
Yeah, sometimes we talk shit about the platforms we use too.
Yeah. Like being honest.
You know, we're just like, make the technology better, not worse.
Okay, so should we bring it back to Amy Fisher? For anyone who doesn't know, this is obviously based on real events. I actually said something to my husband. I'm like, oh yeah, we're doing the Amy Fisher story. He's like, what's that? I'm like, you know Amy Fisher. He's like, no. I was like, honey, you know Joey Buttafuoco? You know that name? He's like, kind of. I'm like, oh my God.
That's what my boyfriend remembered was Joey, and I was like, Buttafuoco. Like,
yeah, you can't forget that one. But Pete, if I'm remembering right from what I had heard when you guys were talking about it, you like remember this real time pretty well.
Oh, I remember this real time. I think I'm the senior member of this group. Okay, this did happen in 91, 92?
92, yeah. Was when it like came out in the media.
Yeah, so I'm in the 8th or 9th grade, and I watched the first one that aired was Amy Fisher, My Story, right? And so this is the one that's Amy Fisher's point of view. And in that one, they cast a really handsome guy as Joey, right? Because it's Amy's story.
Her perspective is that he was the dreamiest man alive.
Yes. He was starring on the hit ABC hour-long drama Sisters.
Yeah.
The girl who played Amy was not famous.
Noelle Parker, right?
Yes. So I saw that one first, and that was the one that I was like, okay, this is the real deal because it came out first in my
and they must have
12-year-old brain.
They must have fast tracked that.
Oh, all of them. They came out within a week of each other, I believe.
Yeah, it was the very next week. It wasn't like a year later. Yeah. So then the Alyssa and the Drew version,
the real event night,
were on at the time on the same night.
That is crazy.
And so I'm watching the Alyssa version and flipping back and forth, and all I'm getting is like newsrooms and courthouses, and I'm like, I don't want to see this.
But you were invested with the Alyssa one.
Oh,
more
on the night.
I
feel like I'm watching Alyssa, and then the reason I was kind of not into the Drew one because it was from this reporter's point of view. So I got, whenever I would switch to it, it was always something weird, and I was like, I want Amy.
More Amy.
It was just my luck of the draw of changing the channels. Had I started on Drew, I probably would have been sucked into that and not really into
you just happened to come in at the bad scenes every time.
But
it was like, always a new.
But that's what makes the movie good as an adult now. It's like, oh, okay, this movie's actually like attempting to look at all these sides of it.
That's true.
They were also trying to do something interesting with storytelling.
I mean, you have to kind of give Andy Tennant. This is kind of a schlocky made-for-TV movie, but for the most part, it's pretty well put together.
Yeah.
Like you can tell that, oh, he's going to go on to have a successful filmmaking career because this movie has well-directed scenes of it, of kind of when they jump timelines, you get the point of view from the car, you get the point of view from Mary Buttafuoco on the stairs. So it cuts together kind of interesting.
It's got an interesting chronological way of how they tell the story. And then we have to shout out Andy Tennant because, of course, he came back and directed Ever After 5 years later, which is, I can't believe it's only 5 years.
That seems crazy.
Like, it must have been like 2 decades between those two.
No.
And do we know, Ashley, if did Drew have anything to do with bringing Andy Tennant on?
I believe so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she did. Yeah. It's just like, why would she think of it's like such weirdly different projects?
Gosh. So we kind of fell down the rabbit hole of just the whole scandal and
we were watching. I watched it. I watched an entire A&E special.
I started that one actually on YouTube today.
You like true crime stuff.
Yeah.
I watched a whole special on the Amy Fisher, Joey Buttafuoco drama.
Okay, so my hot take, just real quick, is that just like, even if Amy never shot Mary Jo, like they're all pretty terrible, right? Even Mary Jo.
There's no good side.
I feel like Mary Jo's kind of a piece of work. Like, I know she is definitely a victim. She did not deserve to be, shot and put through all of that, and her body is,
I think the post Joey Buttafuoco marriage, Mary is maybe a little more reflective. I like all of those interviews when she would go on Oprah of like after she divorced him.
You got to tell us about those because I'm not that versed in that part.
I forgot how many elements of this there are. That the mom is weird, that Mary Jo is weird, like every character is weird. Yeah. So tell me more about the like Oprah Mary Jo stuff, because I haven't seen it.
So the order of the events goes, Amy Fisher gets out of jail in 99. She writes her tell-all book, like the inevitable tell-all book that she ends up going on Oprah to promote probably around 03, I think. Yeah. And it's kind of interesting. You can tell that Oprah's sympathetic to Amy, just kind of because clearly like Joey Buttafuoco kind of like took advantage of this poor teenager.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
So when Oprah starts talking to her about shooting Mary Jo, you can tell that there's something about the story that Oprah's not buying. That I think that Amy says that she was kind of meaning to hit Mary with the gun and it went off.
Right, yeah.
But she pretty much said that she went over to kill her. So Oprah's kind of calling her out on the inconsistencies of that. You can tell that Oprah's a little like impatient with this with Amy. And then Mary is watching the show and she's upset and she calls Oprah's people and wants to go on.
What?
Yeah, like of course you want to go on Oprah.
Yeah, of course you want to go on Oprah. But Mary well, here's my side of the story.
Yeah. I don't know how she got in touch with like Harpo
Studio.
Mary Jo Buttafuoco. All right,
the name will carry you through. Yeah.
Kind of the flippant way that Amy was talking about. I didn't really mean to shoot her. That still to this day that Mary Buttafuoco doesn't buy.
Yeah, I don't know if I buy that either. But I definitely think she was taken advantage of and treated mercilessly by the media, which I like that this version of the movie gets into that.
Right.
Before kind of my big introduction to all of this is that I was a small child when all of this happened. I remember passing references to Amy Fisher when I was a kid. I think that there's a joke in Addams Family Values about Amy Fisher talking about the psychos like trading cards when they're at summer camp.
That's right.
Amy Fisher. So that's kind of was my main reference for all of this. And then I remember reading the introduction to the screenplay of American Beauty by Alan Ball. And Alan Ball talks about in his introduction of that the Amy Fisher, Joey Buttafuoco drama was a big inspiration for him writing the script for American Beauty.
Wow. But that's interesting.
Kind of the idea is that clearly this is a wild story that the public will never really know the truth of. Mm-hmm. And that he kind of wanted to write something kind of like that. And when you look at kind of the bare bones of a script like American Beauty, you have like the Long Island Lolita type. You have kind of this guy like crisis. You get an attempted murder at the end of the movie. I mean, Lester dies at the end of American Beauty. And in the original cut of American Beauty, it would go between Ricky and Janie in jail, like on trial for Lester's murder. Like that was the original cut of American. And then Sam Mendes just kind of rehauled it in post, that it just kind of became something a little different. And I take it that probably the events of something like American Beauty would explode like the events of Amy.
Yeah.
That it would become like a big tabloid scandal of this man that ends up dead and there's like an underage girl in his house and maybe done by his daughter's boyfriend. But yeah, just kind of interesting. That was kind of my main introduction to all of the story. And then when I first started going out with Pete, I think that Pete would just have...
I've just always been obsessed with it.
He's always just... with it too. So
the three movies, I mean, Alyssa and Drew battling it out on the same night on two major networks.
Two actresses whose careers have always kind of
strange little parallels. The Poison Ivies.
Child actor Drew did movies and Alyssa did TV, and they both kind of had their wild girl phase in the early 90s.
So we found an Esquire article from 2016, and it talks about casting Drew in this version.
Let's hear.
Calling it casting a still controversial, still jailbait Drew Barrymore to play Fisher is a move straight out of the John Waters playbook, and she owns the role.
Love that. When I was younger, I didn't necessarily look at this time in Drew's career and be like, ooh, she's really young and being really treated sexually in the media. But now that I'm older, I do. And so it's kind of weird to be like, I'm feeling for Amy Fisher being 16, 17, taking advantage as 17-year-old Drew is doing these scenes with this older man. It's kind of weird.
Body double.
I hope that was a body double, because that sex
Well, we have some info on that. I'll just jump to that. What happened was she did the love scene. She was clothed. It's like 10 seconds long. Then they did a scene with the body double. And then they released that on video, calling it like the uncensored version that couldn't be seen on TV. And Drew is really upset. I have her quote here. So she said, America thinking that I'm letting this man go down on me makes me want to vomit. I wish these people would get hit over the head with a 2x4 55 times until they understand what they did was wrong.
Okay, so what we saw did not air on ABC.
Correct.
This is from the VHS pull then.
Those scenes, those shots.
It makes a lot more sense.
They were kind of gratuitous, and I almost forgot about them. And then I was like, "That's not Drew's boob."
Yeah, and it wasn't the wig either. I noticed right away. That's not that shitty wig.
Yeah, it was just to add some spice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can understand like that's not what she signed up for. That wasn't what she agreed to film. Like, crazy. Yeah. And she's 17.
Yeah, I mean, granted, this is kind of. It's topical and it's a little bit not controversial, but I don't know. She understands that, yes, this is the Amy Fisher story, but she also knows that this is a made-for-television movie. That this is running on prime time on a major network. So no, I don't have to take my clothes off. And so yeah, I can imagine to see the unrated version on VHS and just like, what in the hell?
Yeah, especially when they're like advertising it as like, woo, come see Drew Barrymore, like you didn't see her before.
So I forgot about the accent work in this movie. Now listen, she, not for nothing, Emmy nominated for Grey Gardens.
Yeah, yes, she didn't win that one, but nominated, yes.
Didn't win that one.
She got the Golden Globe.
got the Globe. And what? Martha's Vineyard is adjacent to Long Island, right?
And you're the closest to the East Coast. Let us know.
I don't think that it's good.
I mean, she's going for it though. She's making choices.
I remember, Anne, if you remember Justine and Mel talking about this in one of the, I think it was Celebrity Profile, her friends, and Justine just says, that is a gnarly accent. I always remember that.
I guess I can't necessarily speak to its accuracy, but I feel like what I kept thinking is that it sounds like Drew is talking through her teeth.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so we have a clip of her in 1993 on the very first episode of Late Night with Conan and talking about her performance here.
You, of the three Amy Fishers, I think yours was by far the best, right? No, it was very funny. It was cool. Now, I gotta ask you, did you, a lot of actors, when they're preparing for a role like that with a killer or a murderer, they actually go and meet the person in prison. Did you do that? Because I know...
Well, let me tell you a little something about Amy. I didn't get to meet her, actually, because she was, going through all her court things and being arraigned at the time of the shooting, and it was very nerve-wracking to be portraying somebody who was living in the media as we were shooting, and, trying to pull off the accent and do the whole thing, and, understand everything, and sort of come to terms with why she did the things she did, to have the sincerity to play her, but I had to do it. I had to live out that humor I felt for this girl.
Right. So you didn't meet with her, you didn't talk to her, you just studied tapes?
I would listen to her voice over and over and over again.
That was the first episode of Conan.
Very first one. Yep.
Wild.
Isn't that cool?
I did not know that she was one of his first guests. And putting yourself in Drew's shoes and like in Drew's position in the early 90s, it's just like, what do you have to lose?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She wanted to shed this little girl thing. She wanted to be like, I'm an adult.
Getting off a role like Amy Fisher, it's just, I mean, especially at a time where I think that Drew was, I think that she was kind of lucky to be getting offers. Like, I think that her career was really at a rock bottom. And I mean, fuck yeah, I'm going to do the Amy Fisher made for TV movie.
Yeah, she said she loved the character. Amy was the rarest one for me, whereas Ivy in Poison Ivy, which I know you guys watched today, was something I created. Amy was an imitation. I was having to do scenes where the entire nation had seen her say these exact words. And then she also said, like, it was just such a great challenge imitating a real person, and it had to be just right. So that was another reason she was like, I got to do this. And it was just like, yeah, like you said, obvious, like she has to do this.
Yeah, well, as we're watching it, there's the scene where there is that kind of surveillance video footage of that when that guy sells her out.
Yes, that piece of shit.
Yeah, and so that's probably a tape that was on the news, probably not.
I looked for it today. Actually, I wanted to see if it was that close, but I couldn't find it.
They probably knew that they couldn't change the dialogue too much because it's going to be pretty closely examined.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they probably had to stick to whatever she said,
which is interesting.
And also, like, Drew has, so we'll just kind of give you like a little more background as to what was going on. So this is when she was dating, you guys are gonna like this poll, Jamie Walters.
From the Heights.
From the Heights and 90210. Donna Martin's abusive boyfriend. And they were engaged. Of course, she's 17, but they're engaged. And while they were in Vancouver filming this in late 1992, he broke up with her 3 days before she was supposed to come back by phone. And she begged him to wait. And when she got back, he had moved out of their apartment. And this was like a dark time for her anyway, playing Amy. And then this happened on top of that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she was really broken up by it.
Yeah, we had a bunch of articles around this time that we were reading. And she was just like, I'm so heartbroken. I'm so like, I can't imagine. Like, wow. And she's like, like 17.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
That's wild. That's absolutely wild.
We also have a clip of her on, I know you guys love the Rosie O'Donnell show. So we've been talking about this on the pod. Rosie's slowly putting all the episodes on her YouTube.
They're all on her YouTube.
Oh my God. So I've been waiting for this one. This is from 1999 from April. And this was like my favorite one. I like watching it again now. I knew the whole thing by heart because I used to watch it on my tape.
Oh, I'm sure that I've seen this interview. I think I probably watched this live.
You probably did. You might remember the Play-Doh desk. That was like the thing from this one that I always remember. But as I was watching it, I was like, wait, she's about to talk about Amy Fisher. I remember this. And so I was like, perfect. We're going to throw this in here.
Yeah, when I was playing Amy Fisher, that was really hard.
Yeah.
I was in Vancouver. I was all alone. I was playing like, a psycho slut. It was insane.
A murdering psycho slut.
I know.
Yeah, she's getting out of jail,
Is she?
So Mary Jo supposedly forgives her, and now she's getting out of jail.
Well, that's full circle.
It sure is, isn't it?
Yeah. That's nice.
Oh, that's a whole
Oh my God. She's so cute.
Oh, I love that episode so much.
Wow.
She would have been doing Press Never Been Kissed if it was April of 99.
Yeah, look
Correct.
See, this is why you have my heart, Scott.
Always.
That is like me to it. I am that person all the time.
I love that. I also love that Drew is just like, oh, sure, she's getting out of jail. First I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Just keeping up
Just
with
finds out about it on the show. Yep.
She's like, gotta move on with my life, not holding on to that Amy Fisher stuff.
With Mary Buttafuoco, like, yeah, that's real. Is that she kind of like she made these statements that she forgives Amy, that clearly she was like taken advantage of, and I mean,
you guys seem to know more. Did Mary Jo like finally admit that the relationship had happened between Amy and Joey?
I think she does, because he was
going to jail
afterwards for statutory rape and got like 7 months or something.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but I think that the age of consent in New York was 17.
Okay.
So, and I think she was like months away from her 17th birthday. So it was a whole thing of just like, well, how different was she in the like 50 days?
My God.
before she was like a consenting adult and blah blah blah, all this like garbage nonsense. And he gets like 7 months, right? And I think it was for like one count or something.
Yeah.
But she stuck with him through all of that. And I think in the end she was just like, yes, he did, he did cheat on me, he did have this affair, whatever. But what's interesting about this version, because of, with the 3 and all of that, is that the Amy Fisher story is like, he was handsome, he was charming, he lured me in, and yes, he pushed me into this world of prostitution.
Yeah.
Right. The Alyssa version is like, I don't know her.
It's like the Buttafuoco endorsed one.
Right.
And it's I don't know her. Who is she though? She's just, why are you so obsessed with me?
She keeps showing up to the top about this damn car. Yeah.
But then this one is just like, yes, she has a pager. Yes, she's turning tricks. Maybe Joey's aware of it, but not fully involved in that.
Yeah, they left that kind of vague.
Yeah, they left that very vague. And so, but they were fully explicit in that, yes, he was seeing her, but kind of like not really super into it, I guess. Like
the turn the tricks thing seems like that was on her in this version.
I think so.
Yeah.
He
like mentions later that Joey got her into it, but they never show it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I just love how everybody was so outraged that she had a pager.
I know, that was one of my notes. The quote, a beeper?
Yeah. Like, I don't know if you watched The Real World. It's just like, why do you have a beeper? Do you sell drugs?
Yeah. Oh, I totally remember that. That was a big deal. I'm right in between you guys age-wise, so I get all the references.
Yeah, that was Real World season 1. That was an old one.
Yeah.
But I was in high school when people had pagers, and
me too.
Yeah, so that would to me and to listeners are just like, why would you be so outraged by it? But I guess at that point in 91 or 92,
it was too early for somebody that age to have a beeper.
No one was beeping "I love you" with the weird numbers
or boobs or.
Yeah, absolutely. I found it very interesting that this was kind of the split down the middle of who's kind of side, more objective, I guess.
And you get the tabloid journalist angle from the Post.
Which I appreciated. That's one of my notes is that I appreciate that she's like kind of saying some of the things that maybe a lot of people weren't saying back then about like, hey, this is a teenage girl. Like, why are we?
It's kind of a feminist perspective from that journalist. Like it's kind of cool even when you think about like sex work potentially being like Amy's own idea, like, hey, that's kind of feminist. If
like
coming from
why is
angle.
This becoming like, why is she getting vilified? Right. Yeah.
So it's kind of like, oh, interesting. Like what? Yeah. If there was an Amy endorsed version, do we think it would be this one? Would she be on board with, being like.
Talking about Joey? I love talking about Joey.
I love that part.
Also, can we just talk about Joey Buttafuoco? It's just like, if you're really going to risk it all, are you going to be doing it for this one? Joey Buttafuoco?
Oh my God.
I don't know.
As soon as he comes on the screen, and I feel like this guy's pretty accurate to the real one, I was just like, puke. Like, I can't, this guy makes me sick. Like, and he's just flirting with her.
There's not any other like handsome Long Island guys in the body shop.
I mean, like tight t-shirt and like this kind of MC Hammer pants.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It kind of got me a little. No, I'm just kidding. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I feel like at that time, he might have just been so slick.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been a charm thing. Yeah.
Time and place.
And it's time and place too, because it's the car that she was driving. I forget what kind of car it was, but it's, it's a very like a Jersey Shore. I feel like Long Island's, the Jersey Shore, all that. It's a specific regional thing that, people who look a certain way.
And they lived a very comfortable middle class life in Long Island. And that was just something that Amy probably just aspired to. Like she really saw herself living the rest of her life with Joey.
Yeah, I did appreciate like the kind of scene where she goes to her friend's house and they give her dinner and you can tell she's just like, this is like what I need in my life. And her, oh my God, the scene where her on Christmas morning and her mom's like folding all the wrapping paper from the presents to reuse them. I'm like, that's such a cool little touch.
But I like that touch.
I was gonna say the Christmas morning scene was also giving us a little female trouble.
That was very John Waters.
We not on Christmas dawn.
I thought she was gonna knock the tree down on top of her mom and just like stomp on all the presents. These aren't cha-cha heroes.
She was just like sitting there. I kept waiting for something to happen too. So all of her little blow ups, like especially at the beginning, I was like, she looks like such a babe, but she is such a freaking brat. The way she was acting towards her parents, and then I was like, this is how Drew was to her mom when she was like 12, 13. And I was really wondering if she pulled some of that, like this is how she would act to her mom in real life, which is so wild to think about.
Probably.
Like slamming doors, like you're not allowed to come in the house. Like she really told her mom what to do at one point.
But I think that was like, wasn't she really high too?
Well, yeah, or she was pissed that her mom was keeping her from going and getting high.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was interesting to think about. And then we have a picture of one of the script pages because I'm sure you guys notice how much she plays with her hair in the movie, her amazing wig.
Yeah.
And in the script, it called for that. And it said, it's as if her hair was an extension of her personality.
I did notice actually that the way she was playing with her hair felt like a character thing. Not
Drew. It's not the way Drew plays with her hair a lot.
Where she was like putting her hair in a ponytail and she kind of did like a thing. And I was like,
yes,
that feels so specific for some reason.
Especially because she does play with her hair all the time. It was like totally different than how
right. She's going down the very like Eileen Wuornos, like like layering it out. But I think there's those famous shots of when they arrested Amy and she's in the cutoff jeans
and she's coming out
t-shirt
and the white t-shirt and her hair is down over covering her face. And so I think that to me it was like, okay, she's young, she's a kid, she uses her hair in this famous shot to shield her face from the cameras, so let's take that and extrapolate and like run with it. And
it's awesome.
A bit of business to do as the character.
And there's two scenes where she goes to confront Mary Jo at the door. There's the first one where she's selling candy.
Yes.
In that shot, the hair is wild.
Yeah.
Is that when she has it like under like that with the hat?
No,
that's when she shoots her. Okay.
It's like frizzier.
Mm-hmm. It's frizzy. It's down. It's completely down, and it's just completely like it looks like Amy is like, I don't know, picture day or going to the glamour shots. She's like, this is her ready to like show the world. And I didn't remember, to me in my head, like I don't remember how the events went down. We didn't watch the other versions, but I remembered the whole like selling candy angle, and I thought that was when she shot her. So
yeah,
I don't,
because like when that scene came up, I'm like, oh shit, like we're already here.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I was watching a news story and they were interviewing that Filipino kid.
Oh.
And he was kind of
the getaway driver.
He was kind of reflecting back on it of just like, I don't know. It's just like, I couldn't get a clear shot. I'm just not doing it.
That's why. That's the reason.
Back on helping Amy, and he's just like, I can't even get a clear shot. It's like, this is whack. I'm not doing it.
But all these people in her life just doing these things just because she's like, just do it. Like, I need a gun. Okay, what? Like,
I think it's like, is it like pretty girl treatment, or am I putting that on her because it's Drew? Like, I don't know. I mean, master manipulator, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's how she's portrayed, right, in the media.
Yeah, but again, like the way the media portrayed her was just like so wild at the time. So who knows exactly like what the real story is. But the real Amy, these interviews are so kind of all over the place. I mean, granted, the Oprah one was 25 years ago, so it's like who knows, but she does seem like, maybe there is some sort of like, I don't know, what would you, sociopath kind of tendencies there where she manipulating people.
I did like notice when I was watching some of the videos of her back in that time. Like she has sort of a vacancy in her face that I felt like Drew captured. Like Drew does not have her normal sparkle in this movie at all. Like she really
there are a couple scenes where I feel like I'm like, oh, this is really cute. Like there's like a post-sex scene where she's like,
that's true. You're right.
And like, that looks like Drew. Like
but
it's
most of it,
her smile. I know, but most of it really doesn't feel like her.
Which is cool. It's kind of fun to like have something so out of the box like that for her.
It was fun today to double feature them, that we watched the Amy Fisher story last night, and then I watched Poison Ivy this morning because it had been a while since I watched it. So I sat down and had my morning cup of coffee, and I watched all of Poison Ivy.
As you do.
It's kind of really interesting to see her do these two roles back to back. And I forget how good she is in Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
It's kind of how really she just really knew that character. Mm-hmm. And that you're always kind of on Ivy's side, oddly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's so charismatic or something.
She's so charismatic and she works so well with Sarah. And you can really tell in that movie that like this movie was made by a woman. Like if Poison Ivy was handed off to like a man, it probably turns a little even more B-movie schlocky. But it all works though.
I know. It's going to be fun when we finally cover that one. We'll have a lot to say.
I mean, isn't it kind of insane to think like, okay, so this is like Drew Barrymore under 20 playing these like very mature, sexy roles. And then the person Drew Barrymore doesn't even think of herself as like sexy. She's like, I am just playing a role. Like, that's not me. I get to like pretend I'm that person. And then you look at her and it's like, she knows exactly what she's doing, you know, like, I don't know, but it's amazing to think like, I don't know, just looking at the person and who she's portraying and just how like charged she is as those characters. I don't know how powerful. And then it's like, it's just this person who thinks she's a dork. It's like, what?
Yeah. I think we might have to pull a triple feature and finally finish Doppelganger.
Oh sure. I was my God. Say, is it going to be Gun Crazy or Doppelganger? Those are the other like from this era. Doppelganger. Have you guys ever seen it all the way through?
I have.
I've seen bits and pieces of it. We live in the Doppelganger neighborhood.
Yeah, we're very close to her.
Very close
to the apartments.
We're about like less than 10 minutes away from it.
Yeah, that is an interesting. Drew's famous quote on that is, "You'd rather stick pins in your eyes than watch that movie."
Yeah, I watched it on cable. I think it was made for cable, and I just remember
probably.
Yeah, I just remember like, oh, George Newbern, I love him. He's so cute. Oh, Drew, I love her. Of course, I'm gonna watch this. And then just it's very LA. Like, there's a lot of like they go to this restaurant in MacArthur Park that's kind of like a famous historic like old like deli diner situation. But yeah, the monster is insane. I know they're trying to go for a very like Vertigo-esque kind of situation.
It's actually supposed to be inspired by Breakfast at Tiffany's. Can you guys believe that?
Okay.
And you can, there's little things where when you know that you're like, okay, but I remember when I rented that movie when I was so it'd be like 99 when I'm getting into Drew and I have her IMDb printed and highlighting them as I go to Blockbuster. And then I must have returned it late and I was there later with my mom and she's like, what is this movie? We have a late fee evil gangs? This is Doppelganger, the evil within. I'm like, oh, that was me.
Evil gangs? Hold on. My brain couldn't stop thinking about this picture. So I just had to.
Darling.
But look again with the long dark hair.
Yeah, it's actually pretty similar in wig to Amy.
And Amy Fisher, the real hair of Amy Fisher, I mean, it's that type of like mouse brown, that like really dirty brown hair. Well. I mean, not to like judge hair color, but it's just that.
But not to judge hair colors, but dirty, mousy brown.
But they went like auburny in the wig. Yeah, there's like red tones for sure.
Well, I also love the very early 90s kind of makeup styling. That brick red.
Yeah.
That she has, and also in Doppelganger, I think too, she's got a very dark red.
A lot of dark lips in the early 90s. I loved all of her wardrobe in this movie. I was like really feeling it. Like bodysuits and like it was early 90s in an accurate way, not like in a way you would try to make something look early 90s now, right?
The fast turnaround of all three of these movies is just
mind blowing. It came out in January 93, like January 3rd.
Yeah. Well, that's what Drew was. I think was she saying it to Conan of just like, no, I didn't go to meet her because like
there was no time.
It was happening in real time.
She literally was in court when we were filming.
Mary was shot in May of 92 and the movie came out in January.
Yeah, that's wild, right?
Well, first of all, Mary Jo Buttafuoco, I mean, regardless of my feelings or anyone's feelings about her, but this woman is like unsinkable. She gets shot in the head.
Yeah.
And she's on the courthouse steps giving these interviews. Yes, Grant, she has nerve damage. She has, hearing loss. Her face is partially paralyzed. But this woman is out there and she is telling her truth.
She's ready for a press conference telling her
fiercely
truth.
too.
But fiercely protecting Joey.
Well,
it's just like
that part. I mean.
which is like, okay. Is he worth it? Is he worth it? Mary Jo.
The choices we can't defend, but her conviction to all of it, and just like I said, shot in the head, nearly paralyzed, nearly dead. She's worked on for hours and hours and hours, and like the next day is just like it was that girl, it was that Fisher girl. You're just like, wow, how does this woman just like still out there?
Oh my God. Speaking of Drew being beautiful, which is always my input, the scene when she like is on the lineup and she has to point her out. I was like, oh, Drew looks so pretty.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I was like, Amy's cute, whatever, but Drew's like really pretty. So I'm like, she's a little more pretty than Amy.
That's the thing, because they got this, what was her name of the My Story, Noelle
Parker.
And she looks the most like
Amy, I agree.
Right? And then you get Alyssa Milano, who launched every like straight boy every straight Gen X guy on earth is just like Alyssa Milano first crush, right? Up there. And Drew just like this face, right? They got the two of the prettiest, like pretty. They're just both of them are just pretty. Like there's no other way to
you can't hide it.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about television life rights when you're involved in something like this. That was she just given we want to use your story, here's a lot of money, or were they tied to particular movies? Like I don't know how that works.
That's really interesting. I actually don't even know.
Like TV rights, I don't know.
To have three things, they must have like either they all paid a lot, or it was some batch deal.
Unofficial, and I think the thing with life rights, like you're saying, Scott, like this isn't like a Janie Jimplin, Janis Joplin situation, because they didn't put out any sort of product. We're not licensing anything we have licensed previously. This is just all in the public.
I mean, is it pretty much just ABC
record.
Just saying we want to make a story of all of these events? Here's a check.
I think so.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, she would have had to have been paid by 3 networks then.
I guess.
Wonder. And especially at that time, like who knows how those things worked? Like it's probably totally different now.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think we're really lucky with this because of the story, because of the 3 different perspectives. But with this movie in particular, I just think that Drew is in such a unique period of her career and her life and all of that. And like we said, it's just a few years later, like Wayne's World is like,
oh, that's like a second later.
Yeah.
Same year as this. It came out the same year.
And I remember as a kid just
so weird.
Look, and she looks so, and gets to be, I mean, she's Björgen Kiergan, but she gets to be Drew.
Cute. Yeah, she's
so
bubbly,
pretty in that scene.
Yeah.
I love 93 Drew. She's like especially gorgeous to me.
Yeah. It's like I was a perfect age for Wayne's World, and I remember all my guy friends were just like, Drew Barrymore, like she's so pretty, like they just loved her. And yeah, all my straight guy friends, like to this day, like still quote like, oh, Björgen Kiergan and all that good stuff. But
are you guys ever going to cover Wayne's World? That's one of the only movies from my childhood that I feel like you guys haven't touched on.
It didn't make them gay.
Yeah, I'm like, does it count? I don't know.
I'll gladly be in a throuple are in like a polyamorous relationship with all of the crew members.
Oh, that's true. We love the
we love the crew members of Wayne's World.
All the guys that shoot
all
each other.
All those himbos
all the long-haired metal dudes.
Yep.
That's close enough, right? You guys could do an episode based on that.
Not alone.
That's our angle right there. But I mean, and Tia Carrera. I mean, we'll talk.
All right, just planting a seed for you because I was like every movie that mattered to me. I was like, oh no, Wayne's World.
I feel like because it's just randomly on television, cable, whatever.
It's always on demand too.
Yeah. And I feel like one day I was just watching it, and Scott's like, "You're just watching Wayne's World."
I think I came home from work one night,
and we just watched the whole thing and just laughed.
I love it.
Like, great. Like, yeah, it's Wayne's World. It's funny.
All right, back to Amy. And we have a couple notes we want to just touch on real quick. So Anne and I made the exact same note for our beginning of our notes, like almost verbatim.
It's actually really funny.
All I did was I was cracking up. I don't know. Are you guys familiar with Mad Love? Did you guys ever watch that one from '95?
I remember watching Mad Love with her and Chris O'Donnell.
Yeah. It's a Drew B favorite. It touches a lot of people's souls. But anyway, the opening scene of this movie where Amy's in the hospital, Anne and I both were like, typing, this looks just like the scene in Mad Love where she's in the hospital.
Well, and we both use the word reminiscent
because we share a brain, apparently. We had to mention that.
Yeah, because I literally was like, it started and I was like, this really feels like Mad Love. And it's weird to think it's like only a couple years later, which is really strange.
Super weird.
Very strange.
And then I also want to mention all the like prop photos. We love when they, for movies, when they take actual photos of the person in character, but it's not just like a still from the movie because I hate that. Yeah. So I loved her school picture. I thought it was so cute. And then all of the newspapers, I was sitting there going like, oh, I wonder what happened to all these prop newspapers with Drew as Amy.
We need them for the Drewseum. Whoever has them.
I'm sure that Andy has it in his office.
There we go. We'll reach right out to Andy and tell him if he wants to donate them, put us in his will for the Amy Fisher story prop newspapers, please. I'm asking.
I tried to connect with him when we did our Ever After episode, but I think I sent him a message. He never saw it. So we'll keep trying.
It's funny how sometimes Instagram has been like amazing for us for connecting.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just people don't.
No, they don't even see it.
Yeah.
I'm always shooting my shot though.
The weird restrictions that it's like, yes, what it was sent, but I don't know. Maybe did they receive it? I don't know. So that's weird. Mad Love, though. I mean, so this is 95, and this is, you want to talk about somebody launching a lot of ships, Chris O'Donnell.
Yeah.
With that buzz cut.
Favorite on our show.
Batman Forever, same summer. Like, big time for both of them.
I think he is so boring. I'm sorry.
He is duller than like watching the paint dry. 100%. But there's a very there's a meme that just goes around on like gay Instagram and like gay Twitter of him in his Robin suit saying like, you remember the moment you knew you were gay, or like,
oh my god, amazing.
the new version of it is drag queens reading a story aren't going to turn your kids gay, but Chris O'Donnell and Batman.
That's so good. Yeah, something about that buzz cut, like that's like a very distinct memory for me. I think I had like a Corn Pops box where he was like on it as Robin and I cut it out. Oh my god, I'm having like a weird flashback.
I didn't know you were such a
I wasn't really, but he was cute in that moment. Everybody was into him for a second.
I think that he's still kind of rocking the buzz cut too.
You know, you find a look that works.
Yep.
Just
stick with Can't blame him.
He basically looks the same. He's just like a little bit like wider.
Yeah.
I feel like his face is rounder.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I have to point out something to you to see if you notice this.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys know Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. It's one of our underrated favorites. George Clooney's directorial debut. So when the gross guy from the gym sells the tape and she sees it on TV, she does this look that's exactly the look she does in Confessions when she catches Chuck cheating, where she like does a sad little smile and looks down and looks away. I have to make a comparison.
I didn't notice it. Yeah, you're gonna have to make a comparison.
It's crazy. It's the same angle and everything on her. Anyway, I just had to point that out to Anne because I was excited about it.
Yeah, we love that shit.
But it's a good look because it's that like, well, fuck me. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you got me, bitch.
Yeah, it's not just like, oh, I'm sad. It's like, oh God, are you kidding me?
Yep. I know exactly the look that you're talking about because I remember specifically going, all right, I like this choice. I like this choice of her reaction to just like, damn it. Like,
yeah.
All right.
It's kind of too bad when I'm remembering Confessions of a Dangerous Mind that she didn't get more critical attention for.
I know.
I remember watching an interview with Renee Zellweger where she was on like a morning talk show or something, and she was just raving about Drew.
Really? That's so cool.
I love Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, Drew Barrymore. It's one of my favorite performances of the year. But yeah.
I know it's one of my favorites. It's just really, there's a lot of range in it. And yeah, we love that movie.
And a lot of subtlety. Like, I feel like that the way that her character is very subtle. I don't know. It also is not very Drew in a lot of ways.
Which is always fun to see her just being different.
Because we love her being her,
well,
obviously.
Like, I don't want her to be like that person, Drew Barrymore. I don't like. No.
Yeah. To me, it was just like brown hair and Riding with Cars with Boys. I'm just like, what a change.
Yeah.
That one is not a favorite of mine. I am on the record stating that.
I feel like there was one podcast we did where you were like, it keeps coming up.
It really does.
You were like mad.
The most interesting part of her doing the press tour for Riding in Cars with Boys is, do you remember when she hosted SNL?
Of course, right after 9/11.
Right after 9/11, and they were advised not to do the show, right?
There was the anthrax scare happened while they were doing rehearsals.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, and if they wouldn't have done that show, we wouldn't have like the Wesley Arms hot tub sketch. Would be missing out.
We were just talking about that one.
Yep. Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah. Iconic.
I love that you guys know that. Oh my God.
Yep. We're big SNL fans. I'm an apologist for the show. I don't buy into this like, well, I stopped watching on this. Shut up, grow up. Like,
that is such a thing. It hasn't been good since blah blah blah. Yeah,
it's like, no, it's there are phases, of when it's better and when it's not. It's like, but no, it's not black and white. It's not the old stuff.
There's no cutoff line.
I mean, when I was growing up though, we had a tape of like, I don't know what anniversary it would have been, but we had a VHS tape recorded. I think it was like the 25th Saturday Night Live anniversary or something. And so I watched and rewatched a bunch of stuff from the 70s when I was a kid. I was not getting these jokes.
Yeah.
I used to watch them too as a kid. They would show it before the new SNL. So they would show like a 70s episode. I don't know where my parents ever were. I was just like, I'm going to watch this adult. I was watching the Tracy Ullman show by myself at like 6 years old. I don't know what was happening.
Old SNL after the new episode, they would usually do an old one.
Okay. So that's really late.
Do you remember who from SNL did the Amy Fisher? I was kind of wondering if they had anybody else besides her do it. I'm sure that back in like the early 90s, they had somebody be Amy in a sketch, but it was I think that it was around when she got out of prison in 99, and it's Sherry O'Terry.
Ooh, that's a choice.
Amy Fisher with Colin Quinn.
How was her Amy Fisher? Pretty good?
Not really. She doesn't really do the accent.
Really do the accent.
Like, yeah, it's just like, oh, you're out of jail now, and what are you what's going on? And does a couple of things where she's stable, but then she kind of like goes off and loses it.
The Long Island Lolita herself, Amy Fisher.
Colin, wow, it is so great to be out. I mean, you don't know how good it feels to finally put on my old cutoffs and see-through halter top and stroll around the neighborhood like a regular person. I mean...
Yeah, but we didn't really do a deep dive into that. That one just kind of popped up in our YouTube. So
that's funny.
Yeah, I don't remember because I was definitely watching SNL at the time too. Like I've kind of watched my whole life.
Yeah, same.
So, yeah, so I have vague memories of there being sketches, but I just can't place them right now.
Now somebody else will be yelling at their radio about how we don't know stuff.
We can't research every facet.
Yeah. I can know everything about Drew, but
but I mean, hey, you're now like that Five Timers Club,
yeah.
How many women are in the Five Timers Club? Not that many. So
I know it's been so long too. She hasn't been on a host since 2009, which is just what's going on. She's in New York all the time now.
Yeah, they should have her come on.
Do you think that she'll ever get back into making movies?
That reminds me. I have something to tell you guys. Okay, so just this week, Ross Matthews was asking her, what would it take to get you back? And she said that she really is talking to Adam Sandler about projects and that they've been joking with Jennifer Aniston to do a Three's Company. But Drew said what she wants to do is Death Becomes Her.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, this Death Becomes Her remake that's been going around the internet for the past 5 years.
But I'm here for it.
But I could see it with Jennifer Aniston, Drew, and Adam Sandler. Like it kind of works.
Is this sacrilegious?
No, but I love Death Becomes Her.
Me too.
Deeply.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, don't do it. But I'm also like,
ooh.
But hold on. But who's gonna be is it Isabella Rossellini?
Right. We need, yeah. So I mean, the big one that goes around on Twitter every couple of years is this image, and it's been going around for years now. And every time it goes around, everybody jumps in the comments and they're just like, "Why remake this? This is terrible." And the image it's usually Anne Hathaway,
Kate Hudson, and Lady Gaga.
I'm
not seeing Anne Hathaway. I don't get that one.
I can't remember who's the Bruce.
Well, yeah, I can't remember who's Bruce in that one, but. Yeah, I guess Anne Hathaway would have to be Meryl Streep.
I guess because you got to have Kate be Goldie, right?
Yeah,
Kate Goldie. And then I've also been seeing this rumor. It's even trickled up to people like Jessica Chastain saying that I saw something online that people think that we should do a Death Becomes Her remake. What do you think of that, Anne Hathaway? So it's even like the rumor has where these huge A-list stars are starting to comment on it.
Interesting.
Drew and Jen Aniston are in. I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Okay, which part do we want Drew to play?
That's the question. I think that I think they would.
I kind of think she has to be the Goldie, but
Yeah, that's where I go.
I think so too. I think they would both be good in either, but I kind of like Jen Aniston as
Madeline.
I think that Jen Aniston kind of has a more Meryl Streep.
Yeah. I think she has
as Madeline.
I would like to see her do Madeline Ashton. Yeah, and I think Drew could definitely do Helen. And it's like it doesn't have to be one for one. We don't have to do that, dude, and we don't. It doesn't have to be this like one for one remake. I think they could just do something new with these characters, but I don't know. I like it.
All right. You heard it here first.
I'm mixed about it.
We'll all watch it if it happens, though. We'll say that.
Yeah. But like when that came up, I was like, ooh, like interesting.
Yeah. Murder Mystery?
I haven't watched that.
Watch Murder Mystery.
I watched the first one. I didn't watch the second one, but I thought it was fun.
Okay. Yeah, that's how I feel like I'll feel about it when I finally get around to it. Like, oh, that's fun.
Scott and I always say, like, what's your favorite, like, Adam Sandler movie? And it's like, obviously, it's the Drew collaborations.
Yeah.
And I think it's got to be Wedding Singer.
Yeah.
Because, just because the Hawaii one.
51st Dates.
51st Dates is a little cuckoo.
There are definitely some things in 51st Dates that I'm going to be like, when we cover that, like, ooh, that didn't age well.
I feel like The Wedding Singer is like a good film anyway. And I think 51st Dates, like the story's kind of weak. You know, like, but Drew is very cute in it. And I swear I'm not this shallow. I swear.
But she's so pretty in it.
She's so pretty as the murdering psycho. Not murdering, attempted murderer. 51st Dates. I love it because it was like I'm such a fan, and I have been a big fan
at that time. Yeah.
And I was a big fan through that. So it's like,
and they work so well together in it. Like it's them. That's why we love it, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like,
yes,
his character is wild.
Yeah, he's doing some stuff that you're like,
what the hell? Yeah.
I definitely think Robbie Hart in The Wedding Singer is a much like more sympathetic character. The Wedding Singer is what got me in love with Drew. So that's like always going to be a special place in my heart. Cause I was just like, that's it. I love her. I watched her promoting it on Letterman and Rosie. And then I went and saw the movie and it was it. That was it.
The rest is history.
I'm holding out for her to come back to movies.
I hope so. People ask all the time. It definitely sounds like Adam is going to be the key to getting her back.
They have a pretty big break with the talk show of that. They have a good
it was
few months or so
quite
where
a
they're
few
not
months
filming.
this last time. Well, part of that was the strike. We won't talk about that. But yeah, I think it's more, she said she just doesn't want to be another person. She wants to be her kid's mom. Like it's definitely has to do with their kids. But as they're getting older, I think it's more and more likely. Yeah. Let's hope. Fingers crossed.
I'm excited to see it. I feel like she can't stay away from it forever.
No.
You know, like
she's a Barrymore.
Give her a drink and make
it
a double.
That's an SNL quote too.
Side tangent about the Barrymores of that. We're in Calvary Cemetery in East LA.
We go to visit my grandma.
We go to visit Pete's grandma. And if you go in the old mausoleum, because all of the old cemeteries here have an old mausoleum, and you can usually walk into them if it's not like Michael Jackson in Glendale.
Yeah.
You can usually walk into them and you can kind of look at everybody that's there. And is it Lionel?
Visit my grandma. We're walking around the mausoleum because it's so beautiful. And we're like, I bet you there's some famous people here. So we find.
And I always hop on Google to see what famous people are buried where.
So we
love it to do.
We find a couple of Barrymores. I think Ethel is there, and I think Lionel is there, and they're in the mausoleum, so they're in the wall, and Lionel is kind of closer to the ground. And as you go up and you look at it, last time we were there was big red lipstick, a big red kiss on it, and we were like, "It's true. Do you think it's true? It's true."
It totally could be. She kisses her own freaking star on Hollywood Boulevard, and that's pretty nasty. So.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm surprised I've never looked it up. I've never thought.
I know that I think maybe John's in Philadelphia. I think that's where their family is from. So somebody's over there. So yeah, the other two maybe were, that's so cool, you guys. Now we got to go check it out sometime.
Yeah, who else would kiss it?
Right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Like,
who else could it be?
I mean, she feels like she has a connection to this
and
family.
also,
that she never
like
met.
Rudolph Valentino, it's like a Barrymore.
Right.
So
yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Potter. I don't think like he's a big heartthrob.
Well, what's your point, Mr. Potter?
My point is I want to hire you.
Hire me?
I want you to manage my affairs, run my properties. George, I'll start you out at $20,000 a year.
That's such a Drew move, like you said, kissing the star and all that. It's very her, and it was like, I don't know how fresh the lipstick was, but it was there. You could see it, so.
Put some Flower Beauty on.
It's from like 20 years ago. It's just like they don't
clean it. You guys, thank you for telling us that. I love when we have a guest that gives us new info. It doesn't happen that often. So I'm like, yeah.
Just doing the cemetery tour around LA is just so fascinating. Like Hollywood Forever, Calvary, Glendale. Yeah. You can see the world's largest painting in Glendale.
Oh.
Like of all like tourist traps. Yep.
I've only been to the one. Is it in Westwood where Marilyn Monroe is? I've been to that one, and that's
I think
it.
so.
That's something we should do next time, Anne. We like going to locations. We've done a lot of like filming locations. It's like a whole section on our website. we're into all that stuff.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, cool. You live close to where like the doppelganger apartment is. Like,
Yeah,
that's so
that's
cool.
awesome.
I've never even thought of where that would be.
I've always wanted to track down the mansion from Poison Ivy because we know.
Oh, we've been to that. We've been.
We probably have the address on our website.
Yeah, it looks actually. I'll send you guys some pictures. It looks pretty much exactly the same. It's pretty exciting.
It's really cool.
And it's kind of not too far from where we are too. We're kind of in the middle of Silver Lake, Los Feliz, and Hollywood. So we're kind of centralized. And I mean, movie locations, we were, like we said, we lived in Pasadena and South Pasadena. We would take friends to, go see the like Halloween.
I can give the full Halloween walking tour.
Nice.
So fun. I love
that. That is awesome.
You guys probably have visited my friend Lindsay's website, IamNotAstalker.com.
Yes.
She has, that's Lindsay Blake. She's our buddy. She's helped us with a lot of locations.
Yeah, she's like the master.
A lot when you look up. Yeah, I just stumbled upon her website just looking up.
Actually, she's another one that I found, and I was like, I love everything you do. Now you're going to be my friend, and I made her be my friend, just like you guys. I'm not a lurker.
Yeah, Ashley is an active stalker. But she makes herself known, so it's okay.
I'm friendly about it.
Yeah, a very friendly stalker. She knows exactly how to find the people she loves and wants to make her own.
Thanks. All right. Do we have anything else we want to say about the Amy Fisher story?
I do.
Okay, let's hear it.
I've always kind of wondered of looking at somebody like Ryan Murphy. Do you think they would ever dig up the Amy Fisher story and do a new miniseries? I don't know if it would be like American Crime Story Amy Fisher, if it would just be. Do you think these events are worth taking another look at now? If you were to do a new miniseries or something?
I could totally see that. And I could definitely see it like even more so with the angle that this one sort of took with the journalist, like really looking at it again from a new lens of like, this was an underage girl and this is how she was treated. Like, it could be really interesting.
You could get all of the sides. You could get Mary Jo's side. You could get stuff with Joey. I just all of these guys that she tried to buy these guns off of that got dragged into this. I think it would be interesting.
And also, Mary Jo and Joey's kids are like all our ages. Like, they're closer to my age. And they're grown now, so it's like, they would have been children at the time, but still kind of aware of everything that was going on, especially with the movies and things. So they would be an interesting kind of angle to get to talk about. So yeah, I think there's definitely people of a certain age may be unaware of this. I think
or my husband, who's not even of a certain age. He's not way younger, I promise.
I like how in the movie they had someone like outside the courtroom that's like,
who's Amy Fisher?
Yeah. That's right. No.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Those huge tabloid stories at the time that just got kind of lost with a generation and a half that nobody really anymore.
Yeah. I really like in my memory, so I was 10 and I just roll this in with Tanya Harding and Lorena Bobbitt. Like this all was like the same time. It's like tabloid TV craziness. And then OJ happened. And
I was just gonna say, for me, I feel like I remember OJ more than any of the other ones. I'm like slightly younger, so I guess it like makes sense. It's a couple of years later. I don't know.
And I think I was at this age. I watched a lot of TV.
Same.
Too much TV. And I was watching SNL and late night and all that stuff. So I feel like,
the commentary.
Yeah. The hosts, late night hosts at that time, I don't think there was a lot of scrutiny of the jokes that they were making.
Or just kind of nobody in the writer's room just being like, I know this is kind of a crazy story, but maybe we shouldn't be making jokes about this girl that's 17.
Yeah.
So that was not a thing at all. They didn't care.
And I think Letterman, of course, has kind of been somewhat put through the ringer for kind of the way he treats women and, some of his interviews and things like that. I feel like Jay Leno's come out of all this kind of smelling like a rose, and he wasn't exactly, a Boy Scout.
Wasn't that in Pamela Anderson's documentary? I think there's a thing with Leno where she really had to like kind of set him in his place.
Yeah, absolutely. That Pam documentary was so good.
It was really good.
I didn't see it.
Oh, it's great.
But yeah, I think it would be very interesting to see, or even if it was just like, I don't know, just like a Hulu kind of like the Lorena Bobbitt thing, or that was Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I think that was Prime. But yeah, any kind of a documentary that has news people now reflecting on it, which is always kind of interesting.
I like it. You know what? This is what happens though. We're going to talk about it, and then all of a sudden next week we're going to find out something's in the works, and we'll be like, "See."
Yeah. That's the biz.
I am really glad that you guys like provoked us to rewatch this though. It'd been a long time for me, but I still remembered so much of it. I was like, I guess I watched this more than I thought I did.
And on the flip side, I felt like I hadn't even seen it maybe once. Like I was like, amazing. I don't remember this at all. Like her getting the car. Like I'm like, I don't remember this scene at all. And her name is spelled A-I-M-E-E.
I know. What is that all about?
A pinstriping on the car with her name on it. Oh my gosh.
So 90s. But it was so fun to just like, again, see Drew be in this era of her career, which is always fascinating, and then be so not herself and not resting on being likable, which is something that she has been accused of, and he's even said that she does. And Amy is not that here. I did have one quote from ID magazine. I thought this was cool. They said, Drew as Amy is magnificently real, trapped, hurt, lonely, and morally vacant. I'm like, yeah, I see that.
Accurate.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like it was such a departure for her. And it's like, I think, for a kind of a general audience, maybe somebody who doesn't do the deep dives that the four of us do. I think, you kind of have this idea of this character that she plays and, this just bubbly flower girl kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. And maybe it wasn't until something like Grey Gardens when people were just like, wow, maybe she really can do a little bit more. But for this being so early in her career, it was like, I don't remember it being this much of a departure. Watching it, I was just like, wow, she's really creating this character. And I mean, for better or for worse, what's going on with the accent work, but because we did watch so much of like news, they really did talk about it. Like everybody,
they all sound like caricatures.
The kids, like the grown, they all have, this is a thick accent. And I don't know if it's the same town, Massapequa, where the Amy Fisher story kind of took place, but I know Rosie O'Donnell, and she always talks about how she grew up in the same neighborhood as the Baldwins, Alec and his brother. And I don't know, it may be Massapequa. It may be the same neighborhood in Long Island.
Oh, interesting.
But it might be a neighboring one right around there. There's like Comac and Massapequa, and then there's Montauk is further out. But yeah, I know that Rosie and the Baldwins were pretty much neighbors, and I think it was in the general vicinity. And Rosie obviously has a different accent, but there, but yeah, all that stuff is just like, for her being 17, like, wow, like that's amazing, like Jesus. And to knock out these three in a row, she did what was one right before this?
So she did Poison Ivy, Gun Crazy, Doppelganger, this, and then Bad Girls. So that was her little streak of bad
girls.
Movies. Yeah.
Oh man, I haven't thought about Bad Girls in years.
Yeah,
another one that's not that great, but it'll be fun to revisit.
Yeah, totally. And like
you guys want to come back for Bad Girls, just let us know.
And eyebrows in the wild west.
Oh yeah. Perfectly curled, beautiful hair. But I am so thrilled that you guys came on. I appreciate you letting me stalk you and befriend you. And coming on the show is a true, like, really exciting honor for me personally. So thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you for having us. And thank you for just like gassing us up on your show. Yeah. Like all of the shout outs.
We'll have you on ours next year when we start recording new episodes.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
You heard it here first. I'm excited.
Thank you for coming with all of the the facts about Amy and stuff that like, and you guys like, I don't know, you added this richness, this like lovely whipped cream on top of our just Drew.
The whipped cream and the cherry from you guys. And we're just the little chocolate Drew cake. Or the lasagna she threw away. Oh, I was so upset about that.
Hi. I made dinner.
Yes, I see.
I know it looks big, but the recipe's for 10.
Oh, it smells delicious. Honey, how much cheese did you use?
I don't know, a couple of pounds or something.
Oh, you know, sweetheart, we have to be careful when we're cooking for your dad because his cholesterol.
Who said he had to eat any?
I would have ate the shit out of that lasagna.
I was like, don't do it.
I'm like, that's like $50 worth of ingredients. I know how to lasagna is tough and expensive.
How much cheese did you put in there?
All of them. Yeah. A couple of pounds. This was a pleasure. You guys are great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everybody.
You guys know what to do and you know where to find us. And if you don't, go listen to the last episode. We'll tell you at the end of that one.
Yes. And where should people find you guys?
We're Movies That Made Us Gay. We are on, we're on everything. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, which I guess is now X, Blue Sky. We're all there. Movies That Made Us Gay.
Yeah. And we're on pretty much every podcast listening platform.
You can download an episode. You can download us.
Yeah. If you have an iPhone, it's pre-installed. Otherwise, Spotify. So yeah. Go look
or you
for
can
us.
download 300 episodes like I practically did.
Yeah.
Okay. I know you don't have that many. More like probably 45.
Okay.
You guys were my top podcast on my Spotify Wrapped. I found out yesterday. So.
All right, everybody, check out Movies That Made Us Gay. Thank you so much for staying till the end, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You said we'd always be together.
I never said that.
You know, and if you need some time because it's Christmas and stuff, I understand. Just don't say it's over. Don't say it's over. Don't ever say it's over.
This episode of the How Do You Drew podcast was researched and produced by Ashley and Ann from thedruseum.com with help from our sponsor, Positive Medium.
Special thanks to Matt Costa for our lovely theme song, Roxy Prima for our adorable logo, and last but not least, Drew Barrymore and all the Drewbies who love her. We do this for you.
Thank you.